Well, I've been reloading on a progressive press since 1993, and I never saw the need to have a bullet feeder. But I just recently added this bullet feeder. It's a Lee bullet feeder. My thinking before was that my left hand could load a bullet into the bullet seating station as quickly as my right hand could pull the lever. So I was doing two things in parallel. If I had to have a bullet feeder and stop to load the bullet feeder, then I was back to a serial process. So it didn't seem like a good use of my time. It didn't seem very efficient. But I've been using cast bullets. I've been casting my own lead bullets for a long time, but I've started powder coating them. And sometimes with the particularly Lee molds, you can get away without having to resize them. But with these, once I powder coat them, I resize all of them. It's a good quality check. But once I'm resizing them in the resizing die, then I can load a tube full of bullets in the resizing die, and then just move the tube over, and then I've got them preloaded for the bullet feeder on the progressive press. And that seemed like a pretty good use of efficient reloading time. But then when I started messing with it, I had a little bit of an epiphany and decided that I could have the bullet feeder fed directly from the bullet resizing. So what I've done is there's my classic cast press with a bullet resizing die, and then I've taken some 1/2-inch PEX tubing, connected it all the way up over the top and back down again. It's kind of distorted in that view. The whole thing's just a few feet tall. It's kind of a messy reloading bench, but there's a better perspective on it. I did make a little bushing. I turned this aluminum adapter on my lathe and just put a set screw in the back so it attaches to the top of the bullet resizing die, and then I made the inner diameter of the top part so that 1/2-inch PEX tubing would just push in, and it locks in pretty soundly, doesn't really move any. So now I've essentially got a bullet feeding system that goes directly from my single stage press over to my progressive press. So the process is pretty simple. I put a handful of brass into the case collator, twist it around to load the 25 9mm casings in there. Make sure I've got primers and powder loaded. And then I'll go over to the single stage press, resize 25 bullets. They go around and drop into the feeder, the bullet feeder, fill up the tube. And once that tube is full of 25 bullets, then I will just pull the handle 25 times and make 25 rounds of 9mm ammo. I repeat the cycle every 25, and then 4 of those I'll replace the primers, add another 100 primers to the primer tray, check the powder hopper, make sure I've got powder, and do it all over again. And overall, it's like getting free bullet resizing, because I'm doing that process anyway, and now it's filling the feeder tube. So I'll go ahead and demonstrate it just rather quickly, what that looks like. So here's how fast I can reload once the bullet feeder is running. I'm not going all out here. This is just a comfortable, actually fairly relaxed loading. The trick is nice and smooth, not fast or herky-jerky. Press works a lot better if you just take your time with it. And the bullet feeder has worked very reliably. I would say pretty much 100%. If there's no case present, it will drop a bullet, but it feeds the powder-coated cast lead 128 grain bullets that I've been feeding it rather easily. So after 25 of those, then I would just go over to the single stage press, and working around the camera probably be a little more awkward. The trick here is I have to feed these bullets upside down. Normally they would be fed in right side up, and they would go into a hopper on top of here. But by feeding them upside down, when they go up and over and around, they'll drop into the bullet feeder tube in the correct direction so that they can be fed in properly. So just place them on there, and don't let that pinch your finger. There's not much force required at all. And if you're not working around the camera and you get pretty good at it, you can just crank them right up in there. So it doesn't take long at all to load 25 of those. And then you can probably hear them dropping into the bullet feeder tube. Right. So then we can just go back over here and load some more. And you can really crank out a lot of ammunition without trying too hard. So that's pretty much all there is to it. Hope that helps somebody. It may not be worth doing, but it's something to consider.